Hey everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow Up. Welcome to our El Camino movie review. I just finished watching the Breaking Bad movie, and I'm going to be just sharing my spoiler-free thoughts on it. This is a Netflix original based obviously off the Breaking Bad series, and it follows Jesse Pinkman after the events of Breaking Bad. And this movie was it's a little hard to talk about any points of the story without kind of spoiling. It is about the events that go on after what happens to Jesse after the events of Breaking Bad. But I thought they did a really great job with this in bringing those of us who aren't the biggest fans of Breaking Bad. Like, I enjoyed Breaking Bad, I just have never revisited it, and I'm not 100% sure I've seen every episode, to be honest, but I know the series. I've watched it through mostly. I just was never one of those hardcore fans. So for me, this movie was interesting because I wasn't like excited about it, but I was curious to see if it was going to be kind of a little out there, if it was going to be if I was going to have to rewatch the entire series in order to understand anything happening in this. And I thought they did a great job of kind of making this one so that if you haven't actually watched the entire series, you can still enjoy this story as kind of a fugitive on the run type story. And Jesse Pinkman's a great example of that in this movie. And I thought that Aaron, I can't remember his name now. The actor who plays him. I've just blanked on his name. But yeah, I thought he just did a really great job of reprising this role, bringing it back to life from what I remember of the character, plus this added element of the certain trauma he went through in the last season of the show. So I thought that was really interesting, and like I said, they did a really great job of bringing it back in. I felt like I was in that world again, like this world, like I said, that I haven't revisited since the show first had its first original run on TV. So it was kind of interesting that it was able to draw these little elements and be able to make me kind of still feel like I was watching a Breaking Bad movie as opposed to just another movie in a sense, if that makes sense. Like, it felt connected, it felt like it made sense, so much so that there were scenes that I was like, that was from the show, right? Or did you guys refilm certain things with? So that I thought was really well done. I thought they did a great job of using his facial hair as an indicator of different timelines, because we did get flashbacks in this, which is where it becomes a little confusing for me sometimes. I knew some of those flashbacks were definitely created for this movie, but some of them I was like, was that from the show? I can't remember. I haven't rewatched it. So that was an interesting part that it had. It was able to bring up these parts that I was able to be like, oh, was that from the show originally, or are you just showing me another perspective on a scene you had from the show, or was this a deleted scene that never made it into the series? That's a whole lot of questions I probably should have asked or looked up before I did this review. But that being said, these are the questions that this movie raised to me, at least. But yeah, other than that, I thought this was really well done. I liked like I said, all its connections to the Breaking Bad universe, but not so much that it was overdone, or it didn't feel like just another episode of Breaking Bad. It felt like a Breaking Bad movie, kind of in a similar sense. The only thing that immediately comes to mind as a very similar type connection would be with the Marco Polo series that's on Netflix, and it had a kind of TV movie made that went with it as well. It was about the one character, and so that I felt it was similar to that, and that they did a great job of connecting you into this one, but not feeling like they just took like 2 episodes that they didn't have time to put into the show and just made a movie out of it. It felt like a story specifically created to be a movie, but still tie to the original show. So I really enjoyed that element of it, and this one was really well paced. It's a 2-hour movie. It did not feel like that to me. This movie breezed by pretty quickly because you're just following Jesse. He's kind of on the run the whole time, so you're just kind of a lot of suspense, and you're just kind of following with him. So the pacing is just really well done, and it doesn't feel like a 2-hour movie at all. It felt like an hour and a half to me. Like, I was like, when I got to the end, I was pretty surprised. I was like, oh wait, wow, that breezed past really quickly. But it also didn't feel like anything was left out, if that makes sense. Like, it felt like it was the exact story the exact story that needed to be told, in a sense, or that they had to tell, or not had to tell, they had to be told. That's just not coming out right at all. My point being is that they had a story and they were able to tell it in this 2 hours, and it felt, like I said, didn't feel like the 2-hour lengths. But yeah, which is always a positive for me. I love when a movie doesn't feel its length. But yeah, so I just really enjoyed it. I was surprised. This is definitely one of the better Netflix originals that I've personally watched. I haven't watched them all. It's hard to keep up with them all. But this one, personally, for me, was really well done, even without its connection to the Breaking Bad one. It obviously wouldn't make quite as much sense without it, but like I said, me being personally not somebody like, I couldn't tell you all the names of all the characters in Breaking Bad. So speaking as somebody from that perspective, I thought it still was a really well done movie. That didn't, you don't have to necessarily be the biggest Breaking Bad fan in order to enjoy it, or even know too much about Breaking Bad beyond maybe the basic premise. So they do have a little recap at the beginning of the movie. It's on Netflix, so Netflix can do these kind of things. So there's a quick little 3-minute recap of pretty much like the last season, well, pretty much of all Breaking Bad. You get a quick little, like, pretty much how Jesse and Walter are connected, and then it's the events that transpire throughout. Mainly, it's a lot of the last season in that 3-minute summary, but that's particularly what leads up into how Breaking Bad connects to this movie. Obviously, it's where Jesse ends up after the series. So I just thought this was really well done, really well connected, really great job. And I'm now curious to learn a little bit more actually about this movie. I'm personally going to go try and read some more articles, find out if these were scenes that they took from the show or if they had filmed some original stuff or not. If it was all original, I should say. I'm just curious to find that out or not. But yes, I definitely recommend checking this out if you've got Netflix and you're curious about it, especially if you've seen Breaking Bad. I don't think a Breaking Bad fan would be disappointed with this. Like I said, I'm not the biggest Breaking Bad fan, so I can't necessarily speak for this, but I think it's well done enough that and I can't really find too much of a complaint about it. I thought it was a well done story. That being said, it is possible that I know just enough about Breaking Bad that I am kind of leaving out the people who don't know anything about Breaking Bad, so it's possible they might be left out, but I felt it was kind of open to anybody who's ready for this kind of dark fugitive on the run kind of story. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I'll give it 2 thumbs up for me, because I'll probably definitely check this out even again, which is a really big positive for a Netflix original for me personally. So yeah, that's my review for El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie. Be sure to let me know in the comments below if you're planning to check it out on Netflix, and if you are, or if you have, let me know what you thought of it. Thanks again for joining me today, though. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and have a good one.